So everyone, everyone is feeling ways about Ukraine right now. But I don't. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I do. I'm an American. But how do I feel? We have to ask ourselves in the depths of our soul, right beneath the S. How do you feel about Ukraine? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Can you smell it? Does it smell good? Is it stinky? Let me stop joking. The reason that I'm making all of these little satirical, facetious remarks is because today or yesterday, we had Mr., depending on when you're watching the video, of course, we had Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky visit. He stopped by to say hello. And of course, he was welcomed with open arms from our sitting administration, the presidential team, as well as many representatives of the House. And I don't know fully how I feel about the situation in totality because there's so much information that's going around. And part of me, let me just explain it like this. This is my position. There are a lot of people who think there should be zero aid to Ukraine because they're nationalists and they're America first type of people. There are also people who are completely in support of giving Ukraine everything. They want to sell America to Ukraine. Those people are definitely there. They exist. Then there are people who understand that America has current standing relationships, not just with Ukraine, but with other nations that have invested interest in Ukraine. In order to keep the whole money train rolling, we kind of have to acquiesce to the wishes of what is most pragmatic for the team that we are on. Now, I am in that latter grouping, but I also lean more towards the first group that I mentioned as well, because I think that, honestly, in the long term, the best interest of America would be to move away from these globalist relationships that we have. So, for the average person, not for the average person, but for those people that I mentioned in the first group, they say cut it off cold turkey. I don't necessarily know if I believe that that could be done. Like, hey, today, decree instantly, no more aid to Ukraine. That would cause too many issues. It's just impossible. It's literally impossible to do it that way. We would have to have a suggested plan and say, here, by this deadline, if you guys haven't done whatever you need to do on the border with Russia, then we have to bow out. We've given you this much money. We've given you this much resources. We've given you this much time. Nothing has been done. We have to worry about our people. And the question is, what is that point, right? Some believe that we're past that point. I think that there are some good arguments to be made that we might be past that point. We've given a lot of money to them. A lot of money that America doesn't even have for itself right now. A lot of money when Americans don't have it right now. And they're struggling and they're losing their homes and they're going crazy. And then we look at assisted self-deletion on the rise and people urging others to get sterilized and abort their children. You have to ask yourself, does your child mean more to you than the children of Ukrainian oppressed citizens? The world is a very interesting place in the way that we want to balance the good inside of ourselves, meaning we want to think of ourselves as good people. And not only that, but most people want to be good people. But a lot of life is not about the choice of whether or not to be a good person, but more so doing what you have to do. And it's not an excuse to not think about those kind of things. I would encourage everybody to think deeply about right and wrong, good and evil, and God, to come to your own determination of what is too far in your own life. And before taking this conversation too far in an esoteric direction, bringing it right back to where we're at with the United States and Ukraine. Let's be honest with ourselves as civilians and citizens in the United States and say that we understand that the people in power do not have the American population's best interest at heart. They have their personal interest at heart. They have their personal bank accounts at heart. That's the interest that they're moving forward with. People like the Biden administration, people like Joe Biden himself. This is blatantly obvious. We've known this about politicians in general forever. It's not just the Democrats. It's definitely not just the Republicans. It is an institutional problem. It's a culture problem in America. That is what we have to address. And that is why the question of what aid should be provided to Ukraine is unanswerable right now, because of the internal problems that we face in the United States. But interestingly enough, I think that speaks once again, first and foremost, to the people in the grouping of no foreign aid to Ukraine, because we have so many issues going on here that we can't even come to a decision of whether it's a good or bad decision to do that. To me, that says, hey, freeze. Let's get this taken care of. All right. I'm sure you guys have your own thoughts and opinions on this. Leave them in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. Wow, I sound like a real YouTuber now. Abrupt ending incoming.